I decided to start working on this project I've been thinking about for a long time. Actually, it's a mobile version of a project I did a while ago called My School. Oh, here it is, myschool.netlify.app. Now, I was very pleased to come back to this project after over a year of not even looking at it and realize it still works. Like, hey, that's great. If I were to make this a real thing, I'd probably just start from scratch. For example, Redux. Like, I implemented Redux in the old school way where I have a store here with actions and reducers, and I do the action types, request, success, and failure, and make all the action creators, etc. Within the components, I use the connect function. Oh yeah, so connect, map dispatch to props, map state to props. An app I recently worked on had a totally different structure. There's lots of different ways to implement Redux, let's put it that way. It's unopinionated. So because I've seen so many different ways of doing it, I went to the Redux docs, and it actually does give guidelines. Oh, best practices, maybe that's where it was. Yeah, here we go. So there's really essential ones like not mutating states, and reducers must not have side effects. But there's also strongly recommended use Redux Toolkit, which I haven't used. And it looks great because it includes Thunk and DevTools extension, Immer, etc. So I'd want to use that. Also, single file logic structures. So as opposed to having one folder with the store and all the actions and reducers, you would have the slice. So this create slice thing, and each slice would go within the components folder or screens folder or whatever it is. And also using use selector and use dispatch, like the Redux hooks, as opposed to the connect function. Now, all of these different improvements are to meet that primary complaint that people have about Redux, which is that it's so hard to set up and there's so much boilerplate. So all of these guidelines and updates and such are trying to solve that problem, because Redux really is the best option for global state management in an app, or at least a large scale app, besides using GraphQL. My previous job, they used GraphQL and React Relay with that, and so Redux was actually unnecessary because with GraphQL you can just fetch the data you need, and with React Relay, along with that, every component can have access to that data, etc. So anyway, so I didn't use Redux at all in my last gig, but all I'm saying is that this app is outdated. Now this is the minimum viable product, the MVP, right? Log in, and all this is for is saving online resources. I'm a self-taught developer and I have a bunch of homeschooled kids, and for people who are learning on their own, mostly online, to save those online resources, to organize them, that's the most basic function of this app. But I have a lot of other different features in mind that I could implement. I used React Bootstrap for this. Pretty much the only reason I used React Bootstrap is because of these little tabs up here. I liked them. I like the way they look because they look like files, and it's like a school file thing. You can create your own subjects, which is nice. Like here, you can create a new subject of any kind. You can create a new resource of any kind. You do the link for the resource and choose a subject. I think here I would also have add a subject, or say no subject. So that's one change I would make. And then here I have status to do in progress or complete, because later on I could add like a filter by status, to do or completed, etc. So over here, instead of having all resources right here, I'd probably just have another link here. So I'd change this into subjects, and then we'd have the resources, but only by subject here. And then I would have resources, and then you just see all the resources. And you could probably choose between like the thumbnail version or list version, or I mean, there's all sorts of different things I could do. just with this data, even without changing anything on the back end, just using the data I already have. There's already so many different things I can do. But something I don't like about this is, look at this. So if you have a smaller screen, this is what the tabs look like. And I'm like, nah, not a fan. I want to actually create an app for this, a mobile app. And basically, rather than refactoring the website here, I want to focus on the mobile, and I'll implement the new way of doing Redux. I'll use React Native Paper, which is basically Material UI for React Native apps. So without further ado, if I want to create this app, now I have this My School folder. I have My School back, My School front, and now I create a new folder, My School app. I'm probably gonna have to rename this eventually if I want it to be a real thing, because myschool.com wasn't taken back when I made this, and I should have bought it because now it is taken. Now I'm gonna start out using Expo. Expo makes the development process so easy, the deployment process super easy. And pretty much the only reason not to use it is if you want to use different React Native packages that are incompatible with Expo. But at that point, I could just eject Expo and do a bare React Native app from that point on. But for this MVP, I don't think I'm going to have to do that. I'm not going to need fancy packages. Expo should be fine. But that being said, it has been a while since I did Expo. Installation, here we go. Install the command line tools, which I probably don't have. Okay, so I'll do that. Coffee break. Okay, then I'll do Expo init my app and then switch into it, My School app, and then Expo start. And that's as easy as it is. Seriously, wow. That's as easy as it is. Expo init My School app. All right, so I will do blank with TypeScript. Okay. Okay, cd My School app. I should have a simulator that it can open. There we go, opening it on iPhone 13. Open, there it is, Expo Go. Building JavaScript bundle. Hello there, friend. Oh, thank you. Got it. I shouldn't have to reload. There we go. That's my app right now. Oh, now that's another thing I want to do is when I first started doing React Native, I used React Native Debugger. But my last couple jobs, we used Flipper, which actually ships with it. But Flipper has so many different configuration issues. I mean, it's just harder to set up. But I read this article comparing the three primary debuggers, and the one that he really liked is called Reactotron, I think. Reactotron. He said that it's wonderful and his favorite of the three, so I kind of want to try it out. View your application state, show API requests and responses, etc., etc. Track your async storage. So I think I want to give this one a try. Open up app TSX to start working on your app. Okay, here it is. And here's the styles. Now, for the sake of people watching, I suppose we could put this in one window here so we can see the code and the thing side by side. Very fancy. All right, I'm just gonna say My School. Yeah. There we go. Reload. My School. Yay, I have an app. It's my app. I actually started on a project I've been thinking of for a long time. And sometimes starting is all you need to do. So here we go.